Okay, guys, I wanted to take a minute this morning to briefly talk about the whole PGI Mechwarrior 5 Epic thing. Russ had his AMA last night, and he listed his reasons for taking Epic up on an exclusive deal. And all of those reasons, they're generally pretty sound. I come from a business background, but I'm also a huge fan of the franchise. And overall, I think it comes out as a net positive. And I think we should really talk about why. But I'm going to start with the big monster in the room, and that's Epic. Epic has been disrupting things. They've been doing it in a way that a lot of players aren't necessarily happy with. The exclusives are not something that PC players are used to. At least not in this form. Already, other markets have been doing this in a very different way. Ubisoft, especially. EA, too. There are some games you just cannot get on Steam. And you never will. And that's the decisions of those giant corporations. And they have their own launchers. But the players haven't thrown giant fits over it. Because EA, Ubisoft, those players, they're known quantities. People generally like their games. People give them the benefit of the doubt for no reason other than that they really want those games. They are huge franchises. And the vocal minority that really gets upset about it isn't enough to really hurt them. Now we have Epic entering the fray, doing something similar, but they're signing people to one-year exclusives. These are not permanent. They're doing it to bolster their market. Ostensibly, Tim Sweeney and crew say it's to disrupt the market and make Steam compete, and they'll stop doing it once Steam changes its behaviors. I don't believe that. Most people don't either. But does that change the fact that what they're doing is they are going to change the market in some fundamental ways? And eventually there will be some forced competition. And we're seeing that already, with smaller independent developers flocking to Epic over Steam. And they're doing it because it's best for them. Not just as businesses, but they believe it's best for their games. One of the key things that Russ talked about last night was discoverability. Mechwarrior 5 is going to be a big launch for them. It's a well-known franchise. But it's also still very niche. The heyday of finding Mechwarrior games in basically cereal boxes, distributed with every computer, those are gone. It's not the 90s anymore. It's been 2 decades. And even Mechwarrior 4 just didn't have the same kind of sales, even with Microsoft's backing. Microsoft doesn't believe in the brand the same way the fans do. They're never going to. Not anymore. And PGI and Russ have rightly assessed that if they're going to make a big splash in the market, and if they're going to hit their goal, they want 1 million sales. If they're going to get anywhere near that, they're going to need to have visibility. And we've been asking about their marketing efforts. We figured they should have started by now, and they have in some ways. For the longest time, they've used an agent, Tinsley, PR. She is the head of the PR people. Friggin' Devolver. She does the weird guerrilla marketing. And so she's been in contact with journalists, the dedicated outlets, to do stuff behind the scenes. If you've seen any articles and updates, almost all of those are her work. But again, we come back to discoverability. If you have a smaller distribution platform, fewer games, Mechwarrior 5 goes from being a moderate, well-known, but still niche title to a bigger fish in the pond. Something that people are really going to be willing to jump on. Well, Russ talked about a lot of other things too. He talked a little bit about finances and about the 12% and about the 30%, and that's all great information to have. But what it really comes down to is Russ is making this decision because it's going to recapitalize his company, and it's going to give him additional time to make a better product and put out something that's going to be far more likely to succeed. I don't see a problem with that. It's actually something I want. I want a damn fine game. I absolutely do. And the people at PGI, they work hard. There's like 50 people there with families who work. And if you think about the capital required, the revenue stream to pay those people, right? You got 50 artists, 50 engineers. Probably the average salary is like 50 grand. You're talking $2.5 million. Like, your minimum. Maybe upwards of 3. It's a huge amount of money just to keep that place going. And we know that when games ship, studios will slim down. I don't think PGI is any exception. There's going to be contract artists who are just not going to be part of the party after this. But still, that's a lot of money. They're going to be needing $1.5 million per year. And even if they make their 1 million sales and they make $9 million off of it, that keeps the studio capitalized for new hardware, software deals for only like another 3 or 4 years. Being a developer means you have to be thinking long term. You have to be thinking about those investments, about that capitalization. You have to be thinking about how you're going to take care of your people. And a deal with Epic keeps them going, keeps them comfortable where they don't have to worry about that standardized revenue stream, right? Meeting their variable costs. They can just make games. They can do good work. They can hire the extra personnel. And just like Russ said, oh, here's my alarm. Just like Russ said, it's going to allow them to make a better game, to put extra time into it, to create a better product. When we pre-ordered this game, we ordered a package, and in the FAQ, it told us we'd get a Steam key. Of course, we also signed a disclaimer that said it was completely subject to change. I read the damn disclaimer. I read the terms of service. Did you? Most upset people are people who really didn't realize that this could be a possibility. And they have reacted negatively to Epic pushing into the game space and doing the things they do. Because change is hard. Change is different. Epic is not the greatest company when it comes to their game store. Their stuff is basic. They have a roadmap. They're developing new tools. They are not Steam. They're something different. And people have concerns, and they're right to have concerns. But at the end of the day, if you don't trust the platform, don't give them extra information. You don't have to give them anything extra. You don't have to give them your money. They're already going to take their small cut. They've already paid for the exclusive. You don't give them anything extra. Russ is taking care of that with your pre-order money. But he hasn't given them your info. When you sign up, you can use a throwaway email, create a throwaway account, and then you get the game. The whole object was just to get the game with the pre-order. And you're still getting it. Nothing has changed in that department. The only thing that's changed is there's a slight delay, strategic marketing window, that gives Russ and crew an extra few months to tighten things up, to squash that many more little bugs, to polish things off, to add 1 or 2 features that they would have liked to add in, but didn't exactly have the time on the current schedule. if you think that's a bad thing, if you think that a company doing right for itself, and ostensibly something that's going to do right by its player base, by the people it creates products for in the long run, I can't really help you on that. It's still a better deal for us as players. It really is. Even with the shadiness of Epic and the weirdness of the market, it's still a better deal for all of us. And that brings me down to this last part. As a community of Mechwarrior fans, of Battletech fans, of gamers, of grown-ass adults, Mechwarrior community skews older. The majority of us are going to be between the ages of 26 and 50. We're all grown-ass adults. And in the AMA and on Twitter, people are acting like petulant children. They're sending death threats to developers. I've heard from several of the mods, several of the people in the community, and it's gone beyond just general disrespect. People haven't treated the people at PGI kindly. They generally kick them whenever they can. And honestly, it's tiring. And it's upsetting. And if the community acts like this, I honestly don't know that they deserve a better game. I don't know that they deserve what they want. Because they're short-sighted and they're cruel. And if that includes you, I don't really care. If you don't like me saying it, I'm sorry. But nothing calls for death threats to developers. Nothing. You can express your opinion, you can even be vulgar. That's fine. But you can do it without cruelty. Or threats. And if there's any one reason to make me think PGI made a mistake here, to think that they did something that's actually harmful, it's that they engaged with the Mechwarrior community in the first place. I don't know that we deserve the good things that we get sometimes. We've been very lucky the last few years. And a lot of us can see that it might be coming to an end. With Mechwarrior Online, the population dropping, there's no plan for Mechwarrior 2 online. There's no plan for a sequel. And honest to God, why would anybody do one? Money aside, why would you engage with us? Now, in the end, I definitely think this is going to be a positive for Mechwarrior. Epic skews younger in its user base. And if we want this franchise to live, you have to accept. We have to cater to those people. And with that install base, and with that particular system, that is the opportunity. Russ is betting on it. And if we want the franchise to live and to survive, we're going to have to swallow our own pride, swallow our own qualms. We're going to have to engage with it. If you don't like it, refund your pre-order. I'm keeping mine because I actually want the game. And, you know, I actually love the franchise. More than Epic bothers me. I want to see it survive. So I hope this has given you guys some things to talk about, some things to think about. Think about the business end, think about the future, think about the big bet that's going on here, and decide if you want to get behind it. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for listening to my little rant. Have a great day.